So we're getting into Hasbro this time. Do you even Hasbro? Alright, so today we're talking about the Star Wars The Black Series, Mandalorian and Grogu. This is specifically the one that comes with that weird ice spider thing. What do I normally say? Obviously this is the first time I'm getting away from the NECA products, so maybe I need to change the show name. Probably for multiple reasons. But I was really intrigued by this. It looked nice from the photos, looks good in the box, so I wanted to check it out. As always, we're gonna do an overview of the product itself and the box and everything that's in there, and then we jump into details, articulation, and posing. Let's get into it. All right, so this is new. We're doing the Hasbro Star Wars The Black Series. This one, obviously, the Mandalorian with Grogu. Grogu? The Mandalorian with Grogu. This particular figure is for the Maldo Kreis, which was a terrestrial ice planet. So the Mandalorian crash landed Maldo Kreis after being pursued by two New Republic pilots. While repairing his ship, he was attacked by knobby white ice spiders, which is what we're getting in the package here, but was rescued by the New Republic pilots. And how do I remember all of that? Well, I don't. I just read about it. So packaging of this series of stuff is pretty nice. It's got this tapered edge. I don't know what the point of the window is up here. Obviously you can see the figure from outside of the packaging. Now with this stuff, I mean, this is obviously very new for me to get into the Hasbro stuff, Disney, any of this. So kind of going in depth for me is a first time. Do they always have this many things of tape? I mean, this is a lot. Like every piece, every corner is taped up. But nonetheless, so side of the package, some great artwork. The back of the box, that same piece, but just a closer shot. As you can see here, he's actually, frost, has like frost all over his armor and everything from this planet. There's just a lot of pieces for attention. They cover a lot of different languages, which is really nice. It's not just English and Spanish. It doesn't seem like they do any special call outs on their boxes. I'm trying to quick scan this, but I don't see anything for, you know, recognizing the people involved in the packaging and the sculpting, which is a real letdown. But maybe, you know, I'm spoiled by NECA, and NECA's targeting not 4 and up. All right, well, let's just open this thing up and see what we got. So with this kind of packaging, pretty simple. There's just a shell on the top, a piece of plastic holding the spider in. Grogu's in there just by himself, and Mando's simple. So there's no twist ties or anything that hold these figures into the packaging. Just a piece of tape for the weapons. So let's get it out. All right, so let's get into an overview of what we have in the packaging. So obviously, Mando himself, with this cape, he's got some accessories and things on him. We have the spider, we have Grogu, and this thing that the little, was it frogs in this episode? I can't remember, but the little things were coming out of that he was eating because he loves to eat frogs and other things. His pistol and his rifle. So pretty simple what comes in the box. Let's jump into the details because of course, that's what we really want to see here. So checking out Mando and his armor. So they have this finish on here that is supposed to look like it's the frost from being on this planet. And then I think it comes off really well, reflecting all that light. I'm really honestly surprised and impressed with this. Now, I guess in all fairness, based on the price point of this thing, it should be pretty high detail. It's kind of pricier item, I would assume, for Hasbro, but maybe that's just the Black Series and it's still, again, it's new to me, so I haven't gotten into any of this, but this recently came out and I was really interested in it, and then seeing it in person, had to do it. The hands are a little weak on the knuckles and stuff. That just kind of becomes like this very plain, boring, dull plastic. I mean, everything else, the armor, the boots, the cape, I think this is a really nicely done. We can get the weapons into the back here, but I noticed that there's the 2 spots here and then this larger one on the back, which maybe is more of a standard thing for them to be propped up on stuff or to put stands into their back. Obviously with the feet, you can do your traditional stands there. But yeah, I think the detail work here is actually really great. And, you know, coming from somebody that's in the NECA stuff, I'm really impressed. Maybe where we start to lose the details is this Ice Spider, but, you know, it's just, there's no like wash or anything to it. It's just a pretty flat, plain item. The texture of the plastic is there, and then all the legs and everything move. So, you know, I think the posing is going to be nice for what it is, but there's no wash or any like kind of paint details that I can really see. I don't know if it's just shadows that are happening in here or if it is painted a little bit darker into these divots. Grogu, as small as he is, you actually get some really good detail work. So he also has frost on his clothing all around the bottom half. Now he doesn't pose in any way. You can move his hand. So those twist his head a little bit, but yeah, you can see like the little hair follicles on the top of his head, and then his little face. They did a really nice job on that face. I mean, that is very, very tiny, but highly detailed for such a small thing. Little piece that the little creature comes out of, which isn't in the box, is kind of a bummer. But yeah, this like little egg or whatever that Grogu gets the little thing and eats it. Obviously, it's supposed to be like ice on this bottom part, but it's pretty bland. This thing just is like a two-tone, so you have the green and the gray. But it's just an extra piece, nothing too exciting. His pistol is okay. Again, it's just like a two-tone, so you get the brown and the silver, and that's it. Now, the sculpting itself is actually nice, and there's a lot of cuts and details in that sense, just nothing in kind of wash or paint work that enhances that. So with the rifle, you have the brown for the base, the handle, stock or whatever, then you have the silver pieces, and then this kind of darker gunmetal across the centerpiece here. So I mean, it's nice, it's a good looking piece. The details really come into the sculpting work, not so much into the paint work. So great job to the sculptors. So let's get into articulation with Mandalorian. So his head spins all the way around. Any kind of rotation, let's see, we got some slight, oh, there we go. But I could see like a chin in there and just some kind of generic head, but the helmet doesn't seem to be on the skull properly. So now that I'm looking at this, it wasn't glued on correctly. So I can get, on this figure, I can get only that far, then I can go way over this way, because his head is technically supposed to be that centered. But because the way it's glued onto the skull that's underneath the helmet, I can't get much pivot that way, so that's pretty disappointing. Now as far as tilting forward and backward, so it's okay. I mean, with the cape and the helmet, that's not too bad at all. The arm rotation, obviously, I think you would expect to go all the way around. Now the shoulder pads or armor, whatever, the shoulder armor is definitely going to cause some problems, but you can get it to wrap just above the plastic of the body, so you can get a little bit better movement there, and they seem to flex a little bit when you do that, so it's not awful. Shoulders, pretty good. The elbows, now these are just single joints, which I guess, you know, is mostly the case in a lot of things, but it looks to be like it has a couple locking points. So the elbows actually have a full rotation as well. The wrist has a full rotation and a hinge point. So, man, if you're like me and you're really familiar with NECA, this is great. This is meeting all of the criteria. And the single jointed elbow, it doesn't really bother me. The waist area, so we got like some abdominal rotation, a little bit of forward and backwards. There's nothing happening specifically at the waist, so it is just in the like the upper torso area that rotates. So the legs, you can do some pretty decent splits, full action on the forward, and then the backward. It stops there. Any rotation? No rotation. A double jointed knee, so that's awesome. Didn't really expect that out of this series. So, man, you gotta love some double jointed knees on some figures. The ankles all the way. There we go. And no rotations, but you have like these kind of, the ankle itself has it. So nothing through the leg that twist. But honestly, this is fantastic. I am really impressed with the articulation from this series. Again, it's the first time for me, but man, it's nice. But I guess, you know, you are paying for it with these guys. Articulation of the spider. All the legs are on ball joints, so you can just move them however you want, but none of the joints here can change. That's fine. Didn't buy the figure for the spider anyway. It's just an extra piece. And Grogu, as we kind of mentioned before, so with Grogu, you can twist his tiny little hands. You can rotate them. And then you can rotate his head. And then he's got a little bit of up and down, but the collar here is going to stop a lot of it. So his little feet are just sculpted into that so that they don't obviously move, but that you wouldn't even need them to. So, which that's kind of weird. I don't know why he has feet. Doesn't he have, isn't this like a potato sack kind of thing? Like his feet are always covered by this? This is a really strange choice to put his feet in there. Huh, weird, okay. I do wish that you could move the arms, but it's fine. He's so small, it's okay. So that's it with articulation. Let's get into posing. Alright, so there we have it with Mandalorian and Grogu. I mean, I'm honestly surprised by the quality behind this. Just, it's new for me. Maybe it's not a surprise for anybody else. I think it's a great figure, and anything else in this series is probably really also great. When it comes down to, you know, comparison of this versus NECA, I don't think that this is meeting those same standards, and I don't think it's supposed to. So when it comes to details, I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5. I think they've done an excellent job. There is still some room to work, like with the clothing. It has a very plastic look, but I think they've done a nice job on this thing overall. Good paint work for the most part, and it does have that kind of frosted look, especially in the right lighting. Articulation, super surprised. Disappointed that my figure has the kind of the head issue that we talked about earlier, where the skull is just like attached wrong to the helmet. But articulation's overall really good. I don't know what else I would want other than alternate hands would be great. Since these hands are just locked into place, it would be nice to have some swapped out, something open, maybe something that he could hold Grogu a little bit better, and maybe like a fist for his left hand, like just a straight up fist, so he can like punch something or whatever. So with articulation, I'll give it 4 out of 5. So that brings us to posing, and you can really do a lot with this character. Obviously the accessories and Grogu you can't do a whole lot with, but with him and his 2 guns and the way he can hold each gun and still get the sniper rifle up in both hands and really kind of get that perfect sniper kind of look that you would want him to have, I think posing is gonna be a 5 out of 5. All right, so there we have it with the Mandalorian. You know, ultimately, I think this is a very good looking figure. The price point is maybe a little high, and I think many people would be happy without getting that Ice Spider. So if we could just get that thing out of the box, cut some cost, hey, I think we're onto something. I am impressed with what Hasbro's doing here. I haven't touched that brand since I was a kid, I guess. Ultimately, I think it's a good looking figure. Obviously, there's a couple downsides like the weapon details and the hands, but I think I mean, they did a nice job. And if you're not into Hasbro, it might be a line that you want to start looking into. And if you like this show, consider subscribing and check out this video to see some more unboxing videos. And we'll see you next time.